21st AGM. Thank you all for being here. I would like to clarify who is here and who is not, and why did we have all this bureaucracy of the waiting room. It's because UMAC has members, okay? And UMAC members are the ones that are ICOM members, but who selected ICOM as their committee, international committee of choice. And not only that, there's two conditions. There's that, and also having paid the dues of this year, the fees of 2021. So that's the people who are considered UMAC members and who are allowed to vote in our General Assembly, because we're taking decisions that represent the community, are supposed to reflect the community. In any case, let's move on. I would like you to please identify yourself in the chat, first name, last name, and institution, if you have not done so. And the normal rules: mute yourself when you're not talking, raise your hand if you want to speak, be brief because we have quite a bit of an agenda. Use the chat at any moment for questions and comments. I will pay attention to that. If I miss anything, please let me know. But also because the chat will be saved and annexed to the minutes. And all voting will be done through a show of hands. So the first thing that we're going to do is to adopt our agenda of today. So we have the approval of the minutes. That's the first thing, of the 20th AGM that was last year and was online. I hope you had the opportunity to see all the documents because I'm not going through them. Then you have the President's report, which basically goes from the last AGM to last month, July 2021. Then we have a working budget. Then we have a report, a brief report from our UMAC-J editor, our journal editor, Andrew Simpson, Vice Chair. Then we will address the issue of next conferences and then other businesses, and then we close. Is this agenda adopted? Anyone against? No? Then it's adopted. Let's go to the first point. The AGM minutes of 2020. This was the first time that our annual general meeting was entirely done online. It was a different experience. It was the last year, 27 July 2020. And I hope you had the opportunity again of reading the minutes. I'm grateful to Wenja for writing them down. And is there any opposition? Is there any vote, any reference, any correction that you would like to do to the minutes? If not, let's vote. Anything against? I considered the minutes approved. We move on. President report. That's also provided in the documentation of this annual general meeting. I will not go through everything, but at the same time, this AGM is always an opportunity to, to highlight some difficulties, some high points of our work. And so I would like to just, 2 or 3 points. First of all, the members. Membership is always a problem, especially in the middle of the year. It has always been, and frankly, to be honest, I don't think that this problem will be solved soon at any point, unless something very structurally changes in the way that ICOM processes membership. But basically, as you all know, you pay your fees to the national committee, so ICOM Japan, ICOM China, ICOM Germany, whatever. And then those national committees have to inform ICOM in Paris that you paid. Okay, and they do it at different moments of the year. Sometimes they're supposed to do it around March, April, but sometimes they do it in September, or they do it in October, or at the end of the year, you know. And that's why when we look at the report, when Winja, our secretary, looks at who is the member today, you don't appear, although you already paid. You know, that's the problem that we have. So for purposes of the annual General Assembly, we just consider the word of the, we give the benefit and we consider the person. If the person says it, he or she paid, then we consider it. And that's why the numbers are not reliable. Okay, so we have the numbers of 31 December last year, and we have now 60 institutional members. We used to have 95 in Kyoto before COVID. And we have 630 members. There is a growth.
Sorry that I, so, but the stream is not running.
Oh, really?
I don't see it on YouTube.
You don't see it? Let me just.
No. But maybe I have a problem.
Yeah, it's running. Maybe it's in a different place. Oh my God. We'll handle that later. Okay.
Okay.
This is the thing, you know, I'm not, yeah, we'll see. Let's go back to, it's running somewhere, you know, it's going somewhere on YouTube in the, you know, the ether.
Now it's running. Thank you.
Oh, okay, okay, that's good. So back to our PowerPoint. So there is a growth in the, where are we? Hey, what did I do now? I opened Apple TV. That's sorry. Okay, stop share. Sorry for this. It's very human, these kind of things. I say to myself, you know. Okay, now we're good.
You're not supposed to be human, Marta. You're right, share.
I know. But wait. Okay, I got it. Where's the PowerPoint? Got it. Now share. And then after 18 months, we're supposed to be pros on Zoom, but we aren't. Okay, here we are, back. So UMAC members, 630. I'm happy with this, but you know, this doesn't reflect our strategic plan. We still have very few members from Africa. This is mostly Europe and America, North America. A lot of South America too. So we're represented in 67 countries and territories, but we need to grow significantly in Asia. We are growing in some Asian countries, but not all, and Africa, obviously. But this is a problem we have since long time ago. And ICOM has too, okay? So. Another highlight was the UMAC Award 2020. So it was won by the University of Tartu, Estonia. Another highlight that I think that we didn't mention yet, and maybe many people don't know about, is that because of the 20th anniversary of UMAC, we created this wonderful, really wonderful testimonies of memories, stories of 20 years of UMAC, with people who have been involved in the creation of UMAC, just before or after. We have 8 videos on YouTube. It's a full series, and I recommend that you see it. Another thing that was, for me, personally, very, very impressive and important for us as a community was the quick response, the way we could respond, thanks to Gilbert Nicolas in Lebanon, how we could immediately help Beirut University Museums and Collections after the 4 August explosion. And we were among the first on the field. with ICOM, Lebanon, the Blue Shield, and ICOM-UMAC, and of course UniverSem. And we have been supporting them since that time, and with mixed results. But in terms of universities, we've been the work of the consortium has been significant, and also universities have contributed significantly. These guys, Gilbert Nicolas, they are so absolutely brilliant. They mobilized dozens of volunteers in order to contribute to the response and move collections, reaccommodate in temporary spaces and so on. So there's also a series of videos on YouTube, conversations about, the progress, the development of this support. Also very important for us and to be developed, I hope, through many years, because there's a lot to be done, as we saw in this last session, is our ICOM special projects. We have a project supported by ICOM called UMAC-ICOM, the Ethics of Restitution and Repatriation. And I would ask our Vice Chair, Seth Scholten, to say a little bit about it.
Well, if you put me on the spot, Marta, very quickly. So the project has, of course, been delayed like everything, but this afternoon we'll be discussing draft guidance that has been developed in the project for guidance for restitution and repatriation for universities and their museums. I'll be presenting them, and there'll be a roundtable discussion around it with some live examples. As well as that the actual guidance of the draft guidance is online and has been distributed to all the participants of this conference seeking feedback.
More than that, to all UMAC members. It has been distributed to all UMAC members. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So it's in a, let's say, in a relatively advanced stage of completion at this point. We'll collate all the feedback after September and try to draft a final version, and if there's support for it, then we'll propose it to the wider ICOM community for adoption. And then, of course, I mean, it's gone differently than we had planned. We had planned to bring a lot of indigenous experts to conferences of the partners. But all those conferences didn't happen. So we've worked in a couple of different ways that I'll be talking about this afternoon. In the end, I mean, having a bit more time and being able to spend more time just online with lots of people has helped, I think, actually, in creating a set of guidance that is hopefully useful and acceptable. So more about it this afternoon.
Okay, thanks so much. But there was a lot of stuff already done, especially thinking, reflecting, and there was this polyphonic, right? Can you?
Yeah, we did 3 sessions.
To talk a little bit about it? Yeah.
Yeah, we did three online sessions, and one of them was a webinar with ICOM Australia and COMAC. Thank you, Andrew, for supporting that. And finally made me realize how privileged I am that most of the meetings are actually in daytime for me, but this was 5 in the morning, I think. And we had a discussion with a range of experts from Australia around both international repatriation, but also repatriation within Australia itself, from Australian museums to local communities and source communities there, and all the issues and problems that are still to be sorted. Very, very rich and interesting, a lot of Indigenous voices in that conversation that, I mean, literally, I think, because there's been so many developments in the last 2 years since we kind of conceived the project, it's actually been good that we've had the time, and it's a massive learning experience, I think, for many involved, definitely for me.
Absolutely. And perhaps, Andrew, you could say a little bit about it, because it had the collaboration of COMA.
Yeah, not very much extra to add to that, but yeah, we made sure that a lot of effort was put into getting the right sort of people around the table for that polyphonic perspectives discussion, which was very, very broad-ranging discussion that touched on lots of issues. There is that's still available online as well, so it's there as a resource to be revisited. But it was great. I think Steph's done a wonderful job through steering this whole project and bringing it as far as it has. And I think everyone who's been involved has learned an awful lot along the way.
Absolutely. Thank you both. And also Nicole, who is involved in the project too, Nicole Crawford from the board, and other people. And what's coming next apart from the conference? You already mentioned, Steph, so there will be after this the guidance, which will be presented by you, but there are more things, right?
Yes, no, there's a roundtable discussion that actually with a couple of real live repatriation cases run by university museums. So that's going to be really interesting. But also, I think there may be a follow-up on this. I mean, we're thinking about maybe a publication. We're thinking about potentially using, hopefully, a better situation with COVID, that we can actually bring in more people and experts to reflect on what we have produced. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to say something about this, and,
Sure.
and the more people we can give the opportunity to do so, the better it is.
Yeah, sure. And the European case, the cases of museums in Europe and university museums who are giving the example,
Exactly.
but also which have a lot of problematic collections. I'm sure we will continue, and exhibitions. I'm sure we will continue to have this discussion in Prague next year, because we will encounter some problematic collections and some problematic exhibitions that we would like, that can actually provide a wonderful opportunity for debate. And so thanks so much, Steph and Andrew. We move on. So these are 3 or 4 highlights of the President's report. I would like now to submit it to your vote. Anything against? Anyone against? Any questions? We welcome questions. Come on. It's the only time of the year that we are together. We are a family. Come on, questions.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm Slađana Savić from Serbia. I actually have one question, and I just realized about that. On the geographical map of UMAC members, there's only one member from Serbia, and I believe that's me. But I know other colleagues that work in university museums, and I'm not sure what's with them. Should I ask them or you or our national committee?
Look, that's fantastic. This goes precisely to my point. There are a lot of people who don't even know, in universities, who don't even know what ICOM is, So you have a role, we all have a role in our universities to raise awareness towards ICOM and the ICOM membership, because if you come to think of it, internationally, there is no other organization that represents museums and museum professionals, so I'll be glad. Sometimes I try to convince people to become members, and I can do a direct session with you, but it's very easy. They have to join first ICOM and then select UMAC as their committee of choice.
I know them. I believe they are also in database, but I was just confused right now. So I'll talk to them, and then I'll write to see what's happening.
The confusion is natural, because it's not easy to understand these things, and ICOM is very complex and global, and so but ask everything, you know. You can email me or Winja or whatever, whenever you want, and we will be here to help. Sian, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Marta. Just from a South African report, we've got the opposite, in fact. We've got a lot of people happy to be on the database, but aren't members. And what's even more embarrassing is I am a board member of ICOM-SA. I don't think they're a very effective board. But I have a network of 76 or probably almost 80 UMAC members via email, you know, just as a network for email, but less than 5 institutions or individual members that are paying. Yeah. And I know that you had a flight to South Africa many times and lost the money.
No, I did not. Not yet. I have to go before March 2022. March 20. I can still go.
Oh, okay, March 2022. I will definitely invite you physically to South Africa. Our ICOM board has just been non-functional this year. They've had 1 meeting and that's about it. So I do feel that's where our holdup is at the ICOM side, not the UMAC side. And I do circulate. I circulate the membership as much as possible. But, you know, people are keen, but I do think a majority of the institutions have told us, you know, they can't afford the institutional fees.
It's true.
And they don't want to pay the individual fees.
Yeah.
But we have sort of 10 critical universities. So if I work through the DVCs, which are the rectors or vice chancellors from our side, they can maybe convince the other heads of the universities, because it's not a lot of rand. It's like 4,000 rand. I don't know what that is in, what is that, your funding, but it's for the institution to pay those fees. So then those museums and collections and those individuals that are actually doing an immense amount of work, like Tanya, can actually participate in things like this. So that would be my aim, is just to get at least 8 universities to rather join as institutional members.
Super important.
Yeah. Okay, March 2022. That's plenty of time.
Yeah, I have to fly until March. Otherwise, I lose all the money, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
I can imagine. So we will see you in South Africa, but most probably in January or February.
We'll see. We'll talk about it later. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Isabel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. The thing is, well, I check on UMAC website because we are member of ICOM, the University of Complutense University of Madrid, and from the 3 membership, 2 goes to UMAC. I don't know, but I can see it in the information at UMAC, and another one goes to the Conservation Committee. Besides, as individual member, but I don't see the university reflected.
Represented. Okay, so I would suggest, I would suggest that after this, Isabel, we look into your the case of Complutense and other cases that come up, because it's normal. Every AGM, there's this problem and this, you know, so let's sort it out after it. You're here, you're going to vote, you're voting, and you're a member for many years, you know, since the beginning. So we know, but we'll deal with it after with Wenja Chu. Is that okay?
I guess so, my question is, we have, besides me, because I'm an individual
it's
member,
one vote. It's one vote. One vote.
Because of Isabel, but Complutense University, we have a institutional membership. I mean, now by circumstances, I'm related, but you know, I will be always a member of UMAC.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but we will have to see, because if you are individual and then the university, we will have to see how many votes that count. But
no, but I have 2 people from my unit, that a heritage unit. I have a Complutense that with their names, we signed it to be members of UMAC. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that or how to tell ICOM Spain. I mean, if
Just write me an
people-
email. Just write me an email explaining, and I will forward to them. It's
Okay.
easy. It's
Right.
easy. Okay, thanks, Isabel. And let's get on with it. Let's vote the president report. Any other questions, any other comments, any other objections? If not,
Can I just say
Yes.
thank you, Marta, for that, because there was a tremendous amount of energy, activity, and lots of that was driven by your energy. So thank you.
oh, no, I don't have to say that. In fact, I think we were very slow. I mean, I think we did nothing practically compared to years before, but there was also COVID and so on. So yeah, but thank you. I accept that. It's nice. It couldn't have been done without such a great board and such a great membership. All right, so it's done. We move on to the budget. Okay, so we don't have really a financial report because the income is just ICOM, the subsidy, the annual subsidy that we have, and the expenses have been minimal because activities have been minimal. We didn't give travel grants, we didn't travel, nobody did anything except online. And so, but still we have a working budget for the coming 12 months that I would ask our treasurer, Natalie Nist, to present, please.
Yes, but can you change the slide?
Sure.
Thank you, Marta. So as you can see on the slide, we have a lot of money to expend. You can also see that the income this year from ICOM is less than the year before, but it doesn't matter for the moment. So the main expenses are linked to the UMAC special project Steph was talking about. We paid for that representative of Polyphonic in Australia because they participate. The UMACJ number 12 production, as you can see, and it's a beautiful book. For this conference, we had to, the logo, you know, the wonderful logo you see everywhere on each document, each PowerPoint, and so on. The keynote fee, Zoom license, and so on. The UMAC award of Tartu was paid this year in 2021, and some bank expenses. So for the next month, of course, there are still money for the special project. The production of UMACJ 13, the first number was already not print, but finished, and you have got it for this conference. The second one will be done in some months, in a few weeks or months. We will pay the next UMAC award winner that we will know about it this afternoon. And
no, I think earlier, no?
No, it's not. It's after the lunch, I think. No?
No, I think it's, well, doesn't matter. It's almost out. I think it's the next thing after this.
And then for the next annual conference in Prague, we have the 5 travel grants where Marta was talking about yesterday. And we preview some logistic and translation cost, of course. And then one publication about professionalizing museum work in higher education, an ebook, and some stimulation or stimulus for the young professional with publications and NAP publications. Chair Travel Fund, it's not only for Marta. Don't be afraid, Marta will not expend all this money, but there is also the next president, and we have to think about her or him. And
in fact, this is my last AGM.
Yes. No, you have to do. Yes.
No.
No, I think you should participate to the next one.
Yeah, participate, but I'm not going to chair.
No, because the elections will be during the next one.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have to manage the next one, Marta. That will be the last one.
Okay.
And so some bank expenses a little bit more, because when we pay for a service in Australia, of course, the bank fees are expensive. So we have to, but it's just small money. So the total will be around 21,000 euros, and we will have still much money for an international committee. But and that's enough. That's it. Thank you.
No, thank you. But before I open to the discussion, I just wanted to stress, make three notes. The first is indeed the scholarships, the grants, the travel grants. I mean, we didn't have, for 2 years, we didn't give travel grants. That's why we have so much money. And we shouldn't, because we are an organization that should give the money of the fees to activities, to enhance our sense of community, networking, and so on, produce scholarship and so on. So we are going to give away a lot of travel grants. It doesn't mean it's going to be 1,000 euros each. We're just separating 5,000 euros. And then we will see, because it depends very much on the person, where the person comes from. Okay, so I wouldn't just make it completely determined at this point. We're going to open those travel grants in the call for in November, around November, but of course they are for UMAC members. So again, the membership counts, because we have to give benefits to members. And so one more reason to disseminate the information, get more members, and so on, because there's this benefit. The second thing is the chair travel fund, which indeed, when I became chair, because I didn't have the support, I didn't have a lot of money, the previous chair separated for me this amount in case I would need. Eventually, I did not need much. So it's been there kind of in limbo, and I would like to separate, because we don't know who's going to be the next UMAC chair, and he or she may not have the support of an institution. It doesn't matter. We just separate it, and so that the person can feel more comfortable in being a candidate. By the way, next year we'll have elections, and they are open, the positions for chair, vice chairs, and board members. We will talk more about that. And the third note, I forgot. It's fine. It's just this. It's probably not very important. So any questions from the membership?
Maybe it was about the app. You wanted to tell something.
Yeah, I could say, yeah. We are, there is a working group that UMAC has, it's called UMAC Futures, which is kind of being discussed and thought about. And there's only one member of the UMAC Futures, I think, in this assembly. I think it's Tauke, and I will let him speak later on. But we're keeping this, which was already in the previous budget, just in case they decide to do something. So that's an important thing. And also there's a delay with the publication Professionalizing Museum Work, which is a fabulous book that's going to change the way we think about how university museums contribute to the training of professionals, and not only museum professionals, but we need to get onto it, we editors. It's a book published in cooperation with the International Committee of ICOM for Training, ICTOP. So I think that's it. Any questions? Any changes? Any suggestions on how to use the money? We will see. We will welcome anytime. So if there are no questions and no objections, can I consider this working budget approved for us as a guide? I think yes. So it's approved, adopted. We will use it as best as we can, as with the wisdom that we can. So now point 5 of the agenda, and there's always this point because this journal, University Museums and Collections Journal, is a very important tool for us, tool for scholarship, tool for networking, tool for dissemination of our work, and the fantastic work that's been done in university museums and collections around the world, as we just saw these 2 days. And so I would ask Andrew Simpson, Vice Chair of UMAC and UMACJ editor, to tell us a little bit about what's going on with the journal.
Thank you very much, Marta. Yes, just briefly, over the last year, we've published 2 editions of the journal in 2020. That was despite the fact that we didn't actually have an annual conference. That was the first year we didn't have an annual conference, but this was no problem because we've now changed the journal so that it's actually an open call, open access journal, meaning we welcome submitted pieces of scholarship for publication at any time. We attempt to publish at least 2 each year, and yeah, so last year we had 2 journal issues, which are essentially made up of a whole lot of submitted articles. We're seeking the support from ICOM to publish under one of the Creative Commons licenses, and that will enable us to get the journal indexed by various organisations such as the DOAJ, which is the Directory of Open Access Journals, because this is essentially what we really need to complete the transition to it being an academic / professional journal. It needs to be picked up by all the various journal indexing and ranking agencies. It gets much more exposure that way. It gets into many different listings that way. To do this, we'll keep on doing what we're doing, aiming to publish 2 a year. We're going to expand the editorial board. There's a fantastic list of about 13 or 14 editors who do all the grunt work with reviewing the articles, and I'll also be talking with the board about revamping the website for the journal too in the next year, so that it looks more like an academic journal. Okay, another thing that was also published just recently was a Chinese translation of the journal issue volume 11 number 2. This is done through a partnership that we have with Shanghai University Museum, and this is actually the 4th issue that they've translated for us, which is fantastic because it gives exposure to UMAC and to university museums, to a whole range of practitioners in China. And as we know, China is a very, very interesting place as far as museums are concerned and as far as universities are concerned. So the other, and of course, the first issue for this year was the abstracts volume. That's volume 13, number 1. Now we have a second one that is actually being formed up at the moment. And that is our first thematic issue. It's going to be called A Hub for Pedagogies, and it's going to be more on how university museums and collections are used and applied in different ways for teaching. That one's being edited by Alastair Kwan and myself. That should be out either late November, early December this year. But because we're an open call journal, we also have a lot of other material that's been submitted. So there's a possibility that we might actually have 3 issues this year. If we don't have 3 issues this year, then we'll have an issue early in 2022. So also on that slide, there's just a link to a few people who require thanks, and that's of course for the editorial board, Gina Hammond, who does all the layout and fabulous design work, Alastair for the thematic issue that we're doing this year, Guo Ji from Shanghai University Museums, all our authors for their ideas and contributions, and to various people for provision of the cover images that we use. And also my thanks specifically to all of the current UMAC board. They've been wonderfully supportive of our publication issues. So if you have a great idea for an article and you just want to sort of throw it around, toss it around as a bit of a possibility, send an email to our editorial office and we'll aim to respond to that. We do have quite an active correspondence with the editorial office. And I tell you what, from some of the fantastic presentations we've seen at this conference, there is ample material that I really hope does end up being part of the discourse of the journal in the future.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Marta.
Thank you. And also I would add, thank you, Andrew and Gina and all the team and referees and editors. They're doing a wonderful job, but this is very difficult to transition from a proceedings-oriented journal to a real journal. And if anyone has experiences in that, you know, with other journals in your universities, libraries and so on, because sometimes people have experience on how to index and so on and what is needed and so on. I'm sure Andrew would love to hear about it because there are different ways that it can be done and so on. And, you know, Andrew,
yep,
would
absolutely.
you like to,
yeah, absolutely. Happy to discuss any aspect of this at all. And we would welcome the support of maybe contacts you have in your university libraries or anybody else who is familiar and has done a track record with academic publishing. We're always, as I mentioned just previously, we're looking to expand the editorial board. So we want a diversity of different people with different skills and knowledge sets contributing to the process of publication. That'll be great. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Andrew. So we move on to the point 6 of our agenda, and that's next to UMAC conferences. So we already know we're going next year to the Prague, Czech Republic. We're going to have a joint meeting with ICOM, the International Committee of Ethnography Collections, Museums, with NatHist, the International Committee for Natural History Museums, and with ICR, the International Committee of Regional Museums. So we're going to have a day of reflection about the theme of the conference, which is the power of museums, and we're going to look at it through an angle, the angle of sustainability. So more about that in coming weeks. Also settled and voted in the last year's annual general meeting is that we go to Australia in 2023. Fantastic. It's the one that was pending. We should have been there. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Last year, we should have gone to Australia last year, right? So the year of COVID, we should have gone to Australia. So we're going now on 2023. And we have a proposal from TU Dresden in Germany, which was supposed to be this year with Universum. We have a proposal from them to host the UMAC annual conference in 2024. I have here with us Kirsten Vincenz, who will say something about it. Are you still wanting to host us, or did you change your mind?
No, of course not. I mean, I was really, really sorry. We were all kind of depressed about that. We couldn't do it this year, but it turns out it was the right decision. I'm really glad that the board decided actually to come to Dresden to another point, because it really makes all the difference in the world to be, you know, at the place and to meet people, you know, directly. And so I'm really grateful for that. So of course, we're not stepping back now, and you're very welcome to come to Dresden in 24. So, if you want to.
Yeah, we're going to vote now. So any objections to going to Dresden in 2024? It's actually good because it's Europe and then Australia and then Europe again. I hope I couldn't do it during my mandate to do a annual conference in Africa. Oh my God, it was one of my desires, but I didn't meet you, Sian, before. I should have met you in 2016, you know. Yeah, so no, can we vote, please? Is it okay? So Winja, for the record, we are going, and everyone, we are going to TU's Dresden in 2024. And I can assure you, it's gonna blow your mind, the collections of TU Dresden. Any proposals I should do, any proposals that we have, of course, the calendar is now, you know, we look like one of those museums that only have the calendar fully packed until I don't know when. But anyway, any proposals, we're not going to vote them now, but it's time to ask. Anyone would like to make a proposal to host an annual conference of UMAC? For the moment, not, it's okay, we have time. And Svetlana, you were going to say something. You were not going to propose to Ukraine, were you?
It's also my dream, but maybe not.
Not yet.
Not yet, but of course, it's my dream too.
Yeah, okay. So that's it. We move to the next. Oh, Sian. Oh my God, you're going to propose, and I will not be chair. No, don't propose.
No.
I'm joking.
I'm not going to propose. It's too premature. But I only met you in 2019. Until we build up a proper African base, would make a lot of sense. So I'm very keen for an Africa 2025. But since we have so few members, you know, it is very premature, but definitely put us on the agenda for the next 10 years.
Okay. No, but
let's first establish the Africa base. Let's establish the Africa base first with our colleagues from Kenya or Nigeria and Uganda.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because the problem is that it's all very scattered. We have Nigeria, and then we have Mozambique, and then we have, but really to host a conference, you need a little bit more than that. So I'll give there's Hugo to speak, and Nathalie. Thanks so much, Sian. We will write it down in the minutes.
Now, in the 2025, we will have a general ICOM conference.
Oh,
so it means that the next UMAC conference will be in 2026. So it means in 5 years. So we have plenty of time, you know.
Plenty of time. So Sian, maybe then Africa, we will have like 2,000 members in Africa. So who knows? Natalie, you wanted to say that. You wanted also to mention the same thing, right?
No, yes, it was the same thing as
Yeah. I made a mistake. So it's 2026. That will be the next UMAC conference, non-voted, non-approved yet, outside the ICOM General. So that's it. Any other business? Well, I want to say something that came up, which is a proposal from our board member Fateme Ahmadi to support ICOM's statement on Afghanistan cultural heritage, and I would like us to subscribe to that. Although it's ICOM, so we kind of include it, but I would like to explicitly subscribe that statement that is published in ICOM website. So that's one thing. And another thing is that the UMAC app. But before I pass on to Zauke, is there any other business? Is there anything you would like to say explicitly in this annual general meeting about membership, about Nathalie? Go ahead, please.
I just want to say thank you to you, Marta, because without you, I don't know where UMAC will be. So you are really a motor.
This is going live. I mean, come on, don't say those things.
I know, so bravo.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But any other business? No, then we move on to, there's Sebastian. Sebastian, darling, come on.
just forgive me if I wasn't, but it's good news for Dresden, because just to remember that we also, as Universium, vote for Dresden in 2024. So what we wanted to achieve, what we wanted to achieve this year was a joint conference, annual conference together, but it will be in 2024. So we will have on site, and we. Though it's not over, but we can already say that it was very fruitful and always very important for us. And I think it will be nice, because in 2 years' time, then 2 years' time, 1, 2, 3 years' time, we'll be able to see the path because I think this online conference made us think about lots of things, and we want to take many actions. So it will be a good way for us to see where we are from now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I didn't know. I mean, I heard about it, but I thought, okay, yeah, it doesn't have necessarily to be in the same date and so on. So, yeah, we could even coordinate dates and programs and do a kind of evaluation of what we did together. Absolutely, that's going to be nice. That's wonderful. So, Tauke, well, we did. Akiko, please go ahead.
Just one short question concerning the reconsideration of the museum definition. How is UMAC involved with it? Working with the ICOM define?
Very good point. Very good. I got last week in Prague, we got an incredibly thorough, comprehensive presentation by Bruno Brulon, who is co-chairing the ICOM define. So as you know, the definition is happening. And it was actually, for me, a bit surprising, the preliminary results, because, UMAC participated indirectly because we are in those consultations. So every committee of ICOM did those surveys, and now they have compiled all the information. And you know what was the word by keywords? Remember, there was those keywords. And so do you know that which was the word that came up more in the ICOM in the proposal for the new definition? Anyone? We would think community, people, right? I would, at least. It was research. It was, but by far the distance. So now they're going to compile all that, and they will still come back to us, committees, for a final survey. And then in Prague, they will present the new definition, the proposal, which will be voted by the General Assembly. We are also engaged with the revision of the Code of Ethics. So we also participated in, UMAC participated in the revision of the Code of Ethics. And through sometimes I sent some questions to membership. And just tomorrow, or maybe Sunday, so in 24 or 48 hours, I will send to all our members, in fact, to all ICOM members, it doesn't have to be UMAC member, a survey that will inform the committee on the strategic planning. So we will have an opportunity, all of us, to say which strategic routes ICOM should take in until 2030. And I already have the email from the working group, and I will distribute it through our mailing list to everyone. I'm actually waiting for, we will have to update the mailing list with members, with people who register for the conference and want to be part of the mailing list, remember? So we will do that before, and then once everyone is there, I will distribute the strategic plan, a consultancy. So that's a very good, I'm glad you raised that, because I should have actually informed, I knew about it, okay. Any other questions related to ICOM or related to, UMAC, whatever? We have time. Okay, if not, then I will pass to an update on the UMAC app. You may remember that I signed on behalf of all of us an agreement with the University of Electronic Science and Technology of China in Chengdu in 2018 to collaborate in a UMAC app based on our data, on the data from our database. And so it's been difficult. Zhao Case explains the things better than me. And I would ask him to report to the membership. Would you do that, Zhao, please? Are
yes,
you there?
Thank you. Yes, I'm here. Yes, Martha, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can,
okay.
And we can see.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. And hello, everyone. I'm Zhao Ke from Electronic Science and Technology Museum from China. And I work as the co-chair of UMAC Future as well. I would like to report a brief report of some work of the UMAC app and the proposal Imaginations from Futures. As you can see, the U-Museum app is a mobile terminal of University Museum database based on the worldwide database of university museums and connections. It helps to check information of university museums with smartphone or tablet. We developed it in 2019. A new version was iterated and launched in February 2021. The new app launched on App Store and Google Play, and you can download it. In the past year, 875 times download was made. And we have added a new feature to show new exhibitions using corner technology. And many thanks to our student team. Some of them have graduated from our university and go to the IT companies to do their work and research. And I think it was a wonderful experience for them. And a special thanks to Martin Lorenko and Martin Stricker and all the volunteers who helped us. And we will keep iteration and update. And more suggestions and comments are always welcome. Please email me. And as colleagues may know, UMAC Future is
Wait.
Okay.
About the UMAC app. So when can we do kind of a party to launch the UMAC? I mean, we should mark the moment, right? It would be nice to have even online something, you know, a tutorial, or go there, download here, and you know, people start using more extensively. Where can we do that, do you think?
I think maybe next month we can write down an email and to send to the mail list, and then we can do an online talk. Yes, and maybe with our students, then we can introduce the app and to every colleague.
Fantastic.
In around the world. Yeah.
Okay, you're saying this live, huh? So it's a commitment. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful to launch it, and you've worked so hard. And I enjoyed so much meeting the students, and they are amazing. And this was really also a good way of engaging engineering students, you know, and coders into, so I'm really proud of what they did, and really glad that I got to be in UMAC when this was done. So thanks so much, Zhao Ke, and all your team in Chengdu, and the president. Give my regards, give us your regards, and so on. So very, very good. So now you can, is there any question about the app for Zhao Ke? No, then we move on to the UMAC Futures Imaginations proposal.
Okay, all right. And as colleagues may know, there is a group of young scholars named the UMAC Futures. And there is a group of young scholars from university museums around the world. So recently, we just proposed a project named the Imaginations from Futures, started to do online talk with young scholars from different universities to share their exploration and imaginations of their work, their research at the present and in the future. It aims at making young scholars' voice heard, and the interview videos will be posted to UMAC's platforms. And I think they will bring more energy and vitality to our community. So we have done some trials here, and we make this proposal of this project here and welcome more participants. Now some colleagues from Asia, North America, South America, Australia, and Europe have joined us, and some participants from America, Japan, the UK, Israel, Mexico, and more have scheduled the interview, so they all love it. Young scholars who are specialized in art, education, history of science, and other disciplines would like to join us. And in the past 3 days, we have made some more excellent young scholars in this conference. So we would definitely like to invite them to our group and the project. So if you are interested in this project and the group, please contact me. Here's my email address. And that's all from me today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sokka. And it's important to acknowledge also the other co-vice chair, the co-chairs of UMAC Futures, Michelle Cook and Akim Abdul Mkhahim. And they unfortunately are not here, but I'm sure that they will be wanting to get engaged in this new initiative of for young scholars, which is very, very nice. And you have to make a kind of email again with sort of invitation so that everyone knows, and so that we can also, so that we can also disseminate in the social networks and so on. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. So, so we go back to the point of the agenda to say that thank you all, the board, the speakers, the organizers of this conference, everyone who worked in the UMAC activities through the past year, everyone who sponsored the activities, provided the infrastructure for the digital and online initiatives. Thank you all so much, especially to the board. And I would like to see you all next year. Oh, Dominique. Yeah. Now that I was going to close in a very nice, okay, go on.
Well, I would like to add something. 2 years of COVID, everybody had to adapt. And as you said, we are working with Zoom for a long time and it doesn't always work. But I want to especially say thank you to everybody who was involved, because I think it worked unbelievably good. It was a very good session. We had the pitiful thing that last year for Australia, it had to be postponed, but there was no other way. And this year, I think this was organized unbelievably good. And so I take my hat off to anybody who was involved. This was done really, really well.
It was just us, but it's not over yet. There's so much more. The closure is
yes.
in some hours. But anyway, I'm glad you mentioned that, and it's true. It's been going well for the moment, and
yes, very well.
Also, because it's about the people and the nature and the quality of the things that are being said and shared and discussed, and that has had an incredible quality. And I saw it in the program already, and it's very, very good. Thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you all, and see you in Prague. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What
Bye-bye.
about print screen? Marta, print screen.
Oh, print screen. Okay, first let him wait. First let me stop.